Thanks for doing this. Honestly, I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man. Thanks for reaching out. I actually enjoy these things.
I tried to figure out something to do that was going to be fun, obviously for me, because I don't want to do things that bore me, but also for the candidates that were going to participate in this. And I thought, let me just try and get as many different candidates as possible from all the different parties, and it's just an opportunity, it's an occasion to get the people to know you a little bit better. The campaign obviously just started. The time that we're recording this, obviously the campaign just was launched today. So as of today, it's rock and roll essentially.
Basically, yeah, we're expecting to start either last weekend or upcoming weekend, but well, we're always ready.
It's a good time though for elections, honestly, because I've organized campaigns in the middle of winter, in the snow, in the slush, in the rain, and this is the perfect weather.
Yeah, this is. I think this is why they pick, they always pick these dates, because it's not midsummer, but it's not midwinter either, and it's not spring where everybody just has their head somewhere else. I just want summer to get here and move on with the winter, and I don't want to talk politics or news or anything.
Exactly. So you're a young guy, man. You're still in university, essentially.
Yeah, basically, I'm still taking part-time courses for my master's at l'ENAP.
Oh, you're at the NAP? Okay, because I read something that you're in Concordia.
I graduated from Concordia.
Oh, okay.
l'ENAP now. I might actually reapply at Concordia to finish the master's.
Okay, that's fantastic.
If all goes well.
You like the poli-sci?
Well, here I am. No? Yeah, political science. The study of it is completely different from actually engaging in it.
Yeah.
Because one's an intellectual level, the other one's more practical level.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed both sides. And to be honest, probably one of the courses I hated the most was political philosophy in school. A lot of people go to poli-sci, I love it. I really didn't like it.
Because it's a theoretical program, right?
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can pick up the books and just essentially study everything you're studying. Of course, you have the teachers over there that are accompanying you, and they're giving you their take. And what I loved about Concordia, because I also graduated from poli-sci, a lot of the teachers were professionals.
Yeah.
It's not just
definitely.
academia, right? I mean, it's people that had a significant experience in the topic that they're teaching, and they're just giving it to academia, which is fantastic because you're getting hands-on stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, one of my first professors was he was an American, and he would always be on the radio whenever there was U.S. elections or U.S. politics talk. So he was often on the radio, and I would actually heard him even before he was a professor of mine. So yeah, like you say, it was actually really fun to have hands-on people.
Is this something that that you wanted to get into, or you just fell in poli-sci and you just ended up staying?
No, it was something I really, really wanted to. That was like my first choice, to be honest. Law school was also very interesting to me, but I gave it a lot of thought, and I said, you know what, I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. But it's also very common for poli-sci grads to transition into law.
Absolutely. I think all my friends are either in law or public policy like I am. So it's either or.
It's fantastic because me was the opposite. I went into poli-sci because I had no idea what to do, and I thought, let me just get into that program, and eventually I'll just change. But I just fell in love with it, and it surprised me because I didn't think that that's what poli-sci was, right? And then eventually I transitioned into politics, but. I'm glad. Did you have an engagement before going into university in politics? From a young age, were you involved?
I was always involved in a sense that on my own interest level. It's something I followed on the TV, radio. I read about it, discussed. But even at a young age, people would always you really seem to be interested in politics. And funny story, I think this was in primary and even in high school. But a few teachers tell me, you should probably end up as a prime minister one day. Yeah, you'll end up a politician or something. I don't know. I had it in my DNA or something.
It's fantastic. I saw that you're also a member of the Armed Forces, the Canadian Armed Forces. Are you still a member of the?
Yes, I am currently a member of the Canadian Armed Forces.
Tell me about that experience.
Well, it's one of the hardest questions to answer. The question of what do you do in the army? Because it's to itself, it's a parallel society. And at the same time, it does cross the common society. And as a reservist who works full-time most of the time, such as myself, I have my army life and I have my civilian life, and I started actually in the writing at the 4th Royal 22nd Battalion, the 4th Battalion 22nd Regiment, because it's in French. I usually say it, so I'm not used to saying it in English. Which is a sister unit of the 3 regular force units in Quebec City, and yeah, I started there. Then many years, almost a decade there.
How long has it been?
I joined in 2006, so technically I started my 13th year, June 1st, 2006. I was 17 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
You haven't been stationed overseas? It's more local?
Yeah, I did ask to go overseas. Half the time when you demand to go overseas, there are more people asking than there are positions. So sadly, it didn't come. But hopefully, eventually, if I'm not elected.
I find that amazing. Like, I would never be able to be in the army. One, because probably I'm a little chicken. But it takes a lot of courage to tell yourself and to your family and to your friends, look, I'm going. I'm going to be stationed overseas, and I'm going to go and serve my country.
Well, for most of us who join, going overseas is actually one of the main goals.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a bit like being a doctor. If you don't get to do surgery on someone, that's good news. But at the same time, you have to do it. You're there for that reason. So if you don't do it, that means it's kind of good news. It means kind of calm around the world. Yeah. But you'll always have something to do. Like I've been to floods here in Quebec 3 times, actually. So Vancouver Olympic Games, the security, and so stand by to go to Haiti after the earthquake.
Yes.
So we often see the army as like this offensive force, but there's a lot of passive help, and there's a lot of non-aggressive help. Mm-hmm. So most people that I know, that's what they want to do in the army, and that's what a reason of what they do. But when push comes to shove, well,
and I guess then it comes naturally that you want to serve, which is logical for you to kind of make a jump into politics.
I would say so, but a lot of people wouldn't see it that way. A lot of people find it as a conflict being in the member of the Canadian Forces and then being elected member of Parliament. There could be conflicts. There are rules on that, and I did the paperwork. It's all good.
Yeah.
Everyone who should
got clearance.
Yeah, I got the clearance. Everybody should be aware, and I often remind people that the Minister of Defense right now used to be, and not only him, there were many other.
For sure.
A good friend of mine who was a captain at our unit has been elected with the block 3 times in a row. So, but he's not serving the forces anymore.
Yeah. Wow, fantastic. Tell me a little bit about politics. So how did more active politics, is this the first time you're engaging in active politics, or did you do it before in the past?
I actually, last election, I got asked to help a Liberal candidate here in this riding to get the nomination for the riding. I started with him. Hey, look, they're selling the signs. I started with him. It was... This
is at a federal level you're talking about?
Yeah. It was interesting, but I had to quit really fast, and I had to quit because I found the person I was working with was highly defeatist. He was, every time we met, he would tell me, I'm not gonna win this. I'm not. I'll never get a chance.
Yeah, that's not the right attitude.
Yeah, so I kind of said, you know what? If you're not believing in this, how can I? And that's when I got the kick in the butt that said, well, you know what? If that guy had a chance, I have a chance, So that's I have this mentality that if somebody else can do it, I can most probably do it.
So what attracted you to the NDP then?
I would say the platform and the social values. The Liberals like to, and this is where we're going to do a bit of trash talk. The Liberals like to consider themselves as a left-wing party and whatnot, but in all sense and practices, they are a right-wing. They're a conservative party. Conservative party is even more conservative, and there's no real left federal party in Canada except for the NDP. People would often say the Greens. Oh, the Green Party, I often call them conservatives who recycle, you know?
Conservatives that recycle.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Actually, I think it was 2 days ago, they admitted that if some of their MPs want to open the debate about abortion, they will not restrict it. And
I think it was a mistake, but she came back afterwards trying to correct it. But
well, already that is not a reflex for you.
Yeah.
Already shows, and you know there was a lot of other incentives and political analyst sites actually put them on a range of they're much more to the right than center right, you know, or just around center right.
Yeah. So let's talk about the platform. You mentioned the platform attracted you. Obviously, the NDP is well known for their social policies. Give me a, you know, you were one of the parties, I think, I don't know if any other party has released their platform yet. I think elements of it, but you guys released it as early as June.
Yeah.
Of course, the budgeting and all the cost analysis is still not around, so I'm guessing that's going to be presented at some point during the campaign. Tell me a little bit what we can expect during the campaign. Give me some of the highlights of the platform that you guys will be promoting. All
right. Well, I'm glad that you pointed out that we started our platform in June. Well, we showed it in June. Yeah. That it's always risky, you know, because then you give a lot of time to the adversaries to study
analyze,
it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, to analyze. And I often said to people, if you want to know what a liberal platform is, take the previous NDP platform and you'll find out.
Yeah.
And I always said, if you want to know what the conservative platform is, take the liberal platform and just cross off everything, and there you got it. So to come back to our platform, one of the main things is that there's a growing disparity between the rich and the poor in this country. And when I say poor, this is not people that, I'm not talking only about, often we get this idea that poor is someone like a homeless person, and rich is someone who makes 100 grand. In a certain analysis, 100 grand nowadays could be almost considered poor.
Okay.
I'm talking yearly salary, because cost of living is immense in Canada. And to tie into that, in our platform, we're proposing, you know, to lowering cell phone fees and internet provider fees.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big issue. I think every single person around the world who travels, comes here, or people from here who go overseas, notice that it is ridiculous that you pay $75 for around like 7 gigs in Canada, whereas in Europe you can pay 12 euros and you get like unlimited data almost.
Yeah, but that's coming. I mean, there's measures that are being explored right now.
See, that's
to
the
approach
thing.
more of a European thing where you're paying and you get like an unlimited thing, but it's the phones basically you're gonna have to pay up front, right?
We already pay the phone up front. Right now you pay basically the discount you get on your phone. If you cancel within the 2 years, you gotta pay.
You gotta pay the bill. Yeah.
So they were a little, you know, it was 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. But the cost is way too high for internet. Most places outside of urban areas don't even have high-speed internet. I'm not talking like crazy high-speed type. I'm just talking like average high-speed internet to stream some Netflix and YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of regions in Canada don't even have access to that. And as Canadian taxpayers, we have paid immense amount of money to companies like TELUS and Rogers and well, basically in Bell, basically the main 3, to establish those, and they took the money and they ran with it, and they never really expanded
the services.
And you know, the excuse is always the same. Oh, it's a big country. Oh, it's cold. I often shoot back with, you know, I have family living in Russia, and they pay the equivalent of $7 Canadian for 17 gigs of data on a cell phone. In Russia, I'm sorry to say, but it's bigger and as cold as what countries Canada is. So there's no real excuse.
Tell me what else, because there's a lot of elements in your platform that are
fiscally.
Well, look, I mean, obviously we're going to wait for the budget and the cost analysis to come out, but there's a lot of propositions that are, you know, making a lot of buzz. We're talking about the super wealth tax that is very similar to what some of the American Democratic candidates are proposing, where not only will you be taxed on the salary, but you're going after the assets. So you're going after the wealth of the top 1% of the populations that make what over, I think it's over $20 million.
$20 million, yeah.
We're talking about 1/10 of 1% of the population.
Exactly. Actually, the top 20,000 Canadians, earning Canadians, own as much money as 4 of the lowest provinces in Canada, and 20,000 people is barely a fifth of electoral writing of people, of registered voters. So they're a very small minority who gets to pull the reins on a lot of things, on a lot of decisions, and they get to keep that money, not pay their fair share. Often, it's money that is not even, you would say $20 million in Canada is amazing, you're rolling the economy, but often that money isn't even sitting in Canada. There's billions of dollars of offshore. And just to talk about that, a really good friend of mine who's a professional chartered accountant, and we were laughing the other day watching tennis, because we're watching André Escou, and he goes, I was looking at Eugénie Bouchard. He's a big fan of tennis, and he says, I looked where she lives out of curiosity, and she's registered to live in the Bahamas, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm like, why do you think that is? He's like, well, tax evasion for sure. And it kind of dawned on me. I'm like, see, I'm so naive sometimes. I said, oh, she's probably having fun over there. He's like, no, she's always in Canada.
Well, maybe she loves the Bahamas.
Maybe she does. Who doesn't? To be honest. But
let's go back to the platform, because how are you going to convince the electors that, because the basis of your platform basically rests on a foundation that you're going to go collect all this revenue in taxation. We're talking about increasing the highest taxable bracket up to 38.
Yeah, 38%.
35. From 33 to 35.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
Corporate taxes are going up from 15 to 18. So how are you convincing the population that this is the right way to get more money off them?
The message has to be clear that this is not money coming out of their pocket. People have to realize that they're already paying their fair share, and there are people within Canadian society that are not, and that's all we want to go. How come that someone who, let's say, is just a office assistant for a CEO, how come that person pays much more taxes, and her boss or his boss doesn't even pay half those taxes and gets to profit from the same services, of Canadian healthcare and security and just overall, cleanliness. We gotta clean our streets. We gotta have a standing army. We need to have healthcare. You're gonna say some of those things are provincial, and municipal, but the federal still hands out money to the provinces and all that. So all that money comes into account, and some people just profit of the system. We often complain against the working class. Often you will hear from the conservatives also complaining against people who are on welfare. I say these aren't the people who are costing us the money. People on welfare aren't rich. They're not there sitting and getting $3,000 a month just to chill at home. They're barely making by. That's all they're getting. The real welfare is corporate welfare. But that's where most of the money is lost.
It's interesting that you're mentioning this, because the PBO, which is the Parliamentary Budget Officer, whose role is to basically study the commitments and the platform on an economic perspective to make sure that it's realistic. They looked at specifically this measure, the super wealth tax, and the one element that they were preoccupied by is the reactionary response that these businesses are going to have. I mean, if they need to make sure that they don't pay these taxes, they're pretty much going to find a way to do that. So how do you guarantee that these funds are actually going to come in?
All right,
to support, because at the same time, just go back, this is essentially what you need, what you guys are going to where you're going to cash in order to deliver the rest of the promises or the commitments. So we're talking about estimated to about $7 billion in 10 years, something like that.
With that argument is basically saying, oh, well, why should we put on laws if people aren't going to obey them? And that's the whole purpose of a government. is to put in measures and laws and make people obey them, make society obey them. You're not gonna start doing speeding because you're gonna say, oh, they're not gonna catch everybody, so let's just not put on the speeding limits. That's the same thought, and the excuse that if business have to pay more, they'll just leave. I think we've been hearing that forever.
Well, some have left.
Some will have left, but we're still well off. There's some Canada. Most of Canadian economy is based on natural resources, right? Being the oil sands right now, mining and all that. You can leave, but those minerals stay. Water, wood, all that. It's not gonna leave. You can. It's still gonna need to be exploited, and someone, no matter the cost, will want to exploit it. There's that. Let's say tomorrow morning we start charging, like I said, Rogers and TELUS and Bell their fair share. What, you're just gonna say, okay, no more cell phones, you pick up and leave? Well, guess what? Another company, just like in nature, business doesn't like voids. Somebody else will come.
Yeah, that's the main scare. The main scare is the office closing and losing the jobs. You understand? Whereas other platforms work sort of hand in hand with the corporate world in order to create an environment that is conducive to employment and obviously job creation and necessarily personal wealth.
Well, I'm glad you say that, because it's yet again the same excuse that let the private do what the private does, and we've tried that for a long time in the Western world, and that's why we have laws like the minimum wage laws and such, because when we didn't and we just let the free market regulate as employees and the finances, well, guess what? It never worked. It never worked because the workers weren't allowed to unionize. Then they weren't allowed to demand more. They weren't allowed to demand. They would only get what the employer needed, and the minute the employer didn't want to be there, well, you would leave no matter what.
It's interesting that you mentioned the minimum wage. You guys have been repeatedly saying that if should you get elected, the minimum wage is going up to $15.
It depends where you live, obviously, because $15 in some places are already in place. Like if it's $15 in the oil sands, well, it's kind of unrealistic. $15 in Montreal.
Oh, but I mean the base minimum.
Yeah, the base minimum, and yet again, because you have to do it. You have to do it, and it showed in the states that many states have adopted a policy of $15 an hour. And people often said, "Oh, well, it's going to drive off workers, and it's going to drive off."
Well, that was my next question. Do you think the market, at least here in Montreal or Quebec, do you think the market is ready to assume that increase to $15 an hour?
I am totally assured that it will. When a CEO makes 275 times the salary of the minimum of the lowest employee, are you going to tell me that the CEO works 270 times harder? And what is the purpose of having all that wealth? And to explain wealth disparity, people often don't, you don't realize $1 million, $1 billion, it sounds the same. But the best example, if you put it in seconds, 1 million seconds is about 11 days. So if you have $1 million, you can spend $1 a second for 11 days. If you have $1 billion and you put it in terms of seconds, it's 31 years. So you can spend $1 per second for 31 years, and nobody only has $1 billion. So the CEO or the company that has $3 billion and above is already more than your livelihood. The years you have to your life. It's 90 years.
Let's talk about some local challenges. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I know that you have some posters to go put up and to get your team organized for the rest of the campaign. This is a place that you live, right?
Yeah.
This is
I moved out not long ago. My parents still live here. All my friends still live here. So
okay.
I grew up here for over a decade. So
okay. Tell me a little bit about the challenges here locally.
one of the biggest challenges, and something that a lot of people have talked to me and said, hey, if you talk about this, you got my vote. Just if you help me out on this, you got my vote. And it's something that as a student, when I was going to Concordia, I was here before I had a car. It's transport.
Yeah.
This is, yes, it's a provincial and local issue, but
the federal government
often contributes to transport.
In fact, always. Yeah.
Basically, except if you want to add a bus line here and there. All right, the city. We're talking about major infrastructure, and the issue is that the metro, the day it was built, the 3 stations, amazing stations, but they were already oversaturated. We need to have a second line that comes from Côte-Vertu, and that is a part of the STM has released a plan called STM 2020, and it's part of that. And I am absolutely telling people right now that that is one thing that I will strongly run on and I will strongly promote.
The REM, the new REM station, is it coming here, or is it's more east?
It's a bit more east. To be honest, I took a look at the planning. I know they changed a few things. I haven't gone back to looking at it again. And it's really in this area for a lot of the people. Like my dad used to work downtown. He's retired now, and his whole life he said, "Hey, if there was a metro station, I'd take the metro."
Oh, absolutely.
If there was a metro station, I'm like, yeah,
especially if you're working downtown.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's Montmorency is like, it's so far. Well, it's not far from where we are right now.
Yeah.
But he's like finding parking and getting there and all that. And so long from Montmorency to go downtown. If I had a chance to go from Côte-Vertu, I would do that. So we have to build it. And I often say to people, in the last 10, 15 years, let's say 14 years, with the liberals and conservative in power, what major thing have we built? What is something that we have created? People often, name, the new Samuel de Champlain Bridge or l'Échangeur Turcot, and I often answer the same thing. It's not new. We just changed one for one.
Yeah.
We didn't add anything to our infrastructure. We didn't expand our infrastructure. We are stuck.
Well, it's an improvement of what was there before, basically.
It's an improvement, but the traffic on the Samuel de Champlain is already backed up. We're renovating the tunnel, so more people are going towards the bridge again.
Well, there's definitely a lot of infrastructure project left to do.
Yeah, but most of them are always just maintenance and just it's one for one, right? We're not creating new stuff, and we need new stuff. We need new projects like the metro.
Yeah,
that is. I am adamant about it. This is a major issue.
So transport is one. What else are people talking to you about?
Actually, the area here in Laval, the issue is income. We were talking about it. It's actually the area in itself is considered below Canadian average.
Okay.
And there's that. Prices are going up in Montreal, so people are slowly moving to Laval. It kind of pushes people out. It's a natural effect, but it creates pollution. All these cars, no real infrastructure, and it ties into what I said previously. It's really income inequality and pollution and transport. Those, for some reason, seem to always tie in together. Prices of houses go artificially up, but salaries don't go up.
Yeah.
So your salary doesn't go up, your house price went up. That means your taxes went up. Like in Montreal, they just announced it being out at 2%.
Yeah.
Laval, I haven't heard anything yet. So prices going up, salary going up. Not salary, prices going up, taxes going up, but salary staying very stagnant. So, and then we're not giving you another option of going to work. Let's say you work in Montreal or and most people do, they work in the Montreal area. So you got to keep using your cart. So you pollute, gas prices are going up. So you're kind of stuck in this eternal loop of hey man, my salary is around 53,000. That's the medium income in Vimy Laval. The national average is around 58, so we're a bit lower than the national average. And a lot of people are talking about pollution. About what are we going to do for environment reasons? look, Laval got flooded 3 times, different areas. I was here twice, once in Saint Jean. It's not helping anybody. Losing land, your house price went up, but it got flooded. How are you gonna make it?
You just
up?
lost your value.
You just lost your whole value, or your value stays artificially up for some reason. You can't pay it because you have to pay the renovations. You have to, your insurance won't back everything up because
yeah.
So you're kind of stuck. You know, people are stuck. And,
yeah, go ahead.
And if you look, you have to look beyond the next electoral cycle. You know, I'm not one of those people that, okay, what will please people for the next 3 years? Okay, this. No, we have to think further. And you want to think further? There's a project that there's something that I would love to introduce, is much more aid towards people who want to buy electric cars.
Yeah.
Because first of all, most Quebec electricity is green electricity. Let's say you have a Tesla Model 3 or a Model S. You know that a full tank costs you about $3 in electricity, where the same amount of distance for a gas car costs you around $65 to $75, depending on the car you have. So that money, if you buy Quebec electricity, well, guess what? It's clean. It's from here. It's nationally owned. So it's like a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
But let's go. You know. Plus here, there's a lot of individual houses, so it's easier to install a charging station at home. With a model, I'm not making publicity to the Model 3. The full equipped Model 3 has a range of around 500 to 600 kilometers.
Yeah.
So people often complain about, mileage, but hey, when's the last time you drove 600 kilometers in one city?
Exactly. All right, let's wrap it up, man. What kind of message do you want to send to the people that are going to be voting on the 21st of October? Why you?
I want people to vote for me because, first of all, I am from here. I grew up here. I'm not a parachuted candidate. I know the values of the region. First of all, I served and I'm still serving the Canadian Forces, and I started in this area. So not many candidates can say, hey, I actually saved my own community from a flood and helped and deployed, and I done security work around Halloween. We walk around and we check. Not many candidates can do that. The Liberals often will play the ethnicity card. Previously it was Madame Nassif. They parachuted her here because they're like, hey, there's a lot of Lebanese people living in the area. There you go. Now they booted her out. They put a Greek saying, hey, there's a lot of Greeks living in the area, and that's very identity politics that I do not enjoy getting involved. Actually, a guy who helps me on my campaign was an aide, and I may be giving a scoop, was an aide on the Laval candidate at the Conservative Party, and he didn't like the idea that they only use them for Haitian votes, because they're in a highly Haitian vote area, and they just wanted to have a Haitian face, and I don't get involved in that. That is really, I'm not gonna go and beg people that hey, we're from the same region, vote for me. No, vote for me because I know what I'm doing. I got the ideas, and it's, I feel bad for my opponents the day I'm in chamber, because I'm the kind of guy who goes for
left or right here.
It's gonna be left. I'm the kind of guy that I know how to go get what I need, and I'm hard working for it.
Super, man. I wish you a lot of luck. The campaign has only started, so you have 40 days of ground that you got to work.
Yeah, we gotta grind the coffee, man.
Good luck. Much success to you.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. If you want contacts with other candidates and so on.
For sure.
I know some liberals and some conservatives.
Beautiful, man. I appreciate it.